Hi, Jill D'Arpino from Aftermath of Suicide. I'm coming to you on Mother's Day. Um, it's not ever happy for me, and I want to talk about that for the mothers out there that have lost a child and lost a child to suicide. It is one of the hardest deaths to grieve and get through. Some never get through, but there's so many unanswered questions. Um, Today is my 6th Mother's Day without my son. My daughter lives on the West Coast, so I'm not with her either, but it definitely is always bittersweet. Um, you on every one of these type of, whether it's Mother's Day, his birthday, your child's date of the anniversary that he or she died, are never good days. They're not happy. Today's not happy for me, and also it's the first Mother's Day without my mother. She died January of this year, and it's the first day I'm not really calling her to say Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I think about all the memories and with my mother, but let's talk about the loss of a child to suicide. It destroyed me. I've never been myself since, nor will I be. That part of me died with my son and is buried with him. There's some of Jill, but the old Jill is not here. And the ifs and should haves and could haves and what suicide does to you and leaves you with is, I call it a life sentence of pain. It's a life sentence because there is never really, the closure, as people call it. Whatever that means. There's no closure. I'll never get closure with losing my son, especially this way. So for you mothers there, my heart bleeds for you, especially if you didn't get a text or a message or a letter left to really know why. And there's, you just go over it and over it in your mind. And, if I could have only, if I could have this, I think about it. I think about if Mike had just given me a chance to help him. I did get a text message explaining it for the most part, but does it really help me to, to feel okay with the loss, to feel okay with his choice? No. I'll never be okay with his choice. I'll never be okay with him not reaching out to anybody and letting us at least help him. He had 45 minutes to change his mind from the drive from Las Vegas to the cemetery where my dad is buried, and that's where Mike took his life. So he had 45 minutes to change his mind. And that goes, I go over it and over it and over it. And, his last thoughts, what was he thinking, what was going through his mind, the pain. But I have to tell you, for you mothers there, And of course, I speak to the fathers and everyone, but I'm just coming to you today on Mother's Day. So this is for the mothers that have lost a child to suicide. I feel for you. I just, uh, if you can get yourself in counseling, it's almost imperative, because this isn't something that you can do by yourself. You can work through alone. Um, Support groups are great if it's something that you want to do. Some people don't like being with strangers, but it can often help for those being around other parents that have lost a child, especially if it's a suicide group. All those children have lost, all those parents have lost a child to suicide. So you each understand that type of loss. Um, so it can be helpful. Compassionate Friends is another support group that is for parents' loss of a child, but it's a loss of a child of any type, not just suicide. But the back to living with the those should-haves and could-haves and what-ifs, it can destroy you if you allow it to. If you allow it to eat at you, and you just keep going over it and going over it, and you will in the beginning. You will in the beginning. It's you want a different ending. You want to be able to do it over. There's no doing it over. It's it's a finality that you don't get a chance. And that's part of the, I think, hardest part for me, is not getting that chance. Him not responding or picking up our phone calls. That minute that I got that text message, I panicked and I called. Please, Mike, don't do this. We'll help you. And when I retrieved his phone, there wasn't one text message that he had opened up and read, or one phone call that he listened to. So I want to say that for you mothers, there's nothing worse, there's nothing more painful than the loss of a child. And you should never have to bury your child. They should never die before you. I have a book coming soon this summer called Overcoming a Life Destroyed. And I talk about many things in there, about the stages of grief and how to get through something like this, what you could do for yourself, who you can go to. I talk about a lot of things. Depression in children, the signs of depression in children. My son was depressed since the age of 6, on and off, but I noticed it. And who would ever think that a 6-year-old could be depressed? I just thought he was, being a boy. Boys will be boys. But what did we know 30 years ago about depression in children? So I write about that in my book as well, the signs of depression in children, and the signs of depression generally, that people don't realize are depression, like agitation and being angry and impatience. That's depression when it's a continuous type of behavior. We all have situational anger, but when it goes on for months and years, it's depression. And I just was thinking it was my son's temper, or couldn't control his anger. And he was definitely worse after he came back from his second deployment. But so, as you can tell, it's hard to come up with thoughts to comfort you on this day, to comfort you with a loss like this that is so profound. Um, you beat yourself up. You may think that you were a bad parent and you should have done this and you should have, and that's what suicide does. It leaves you with so many unanswered questions, the ones that can just keep you in a prison if you allow it. So please visit my website at aftermathofsuicide.com. You can reach out to me there on the Contact Jill page. And I will keep everyone posted on the book release, hopefully by the summer, this summer. And again, I don't even want to say Happy Mother's Day to you, because I know it's not happy, even if you have other children. And it doesn't mean you don't love the other children. So stay well and be kind to yourself.